Hello everyone. Welcome back to my show Beyond the Cover. It's episode 25. And as a host, it's me, Andreia Santos. Is when we're talking about books, literature, writing. And from time to time, we also do some interviews to actually know other authors out there in the country. So, for today's episode, I've got three lovely questions, and I want to thank everyone who is sent me these lovely questions for today. And let's just really start it, shall we? So Bethany from Lancashire actually asks, I recall you talking in one of your shows about inspiration. Can you remind me where you get your inspiration from? So this really depends, Bethany. Thank you so much for asking me this question again. I will say it really depends because I try to get inspiration from everything I can. Because sometimes you can have author's block. You can be in a situation where you need some other sources to just guide you a little bit in your story. So usually what I do is I listen music, I watch some TV series as well and shows, I watch some films, and I read other authors' books as well. Because if you think about it, everything I've done before, nothing is going to be new. Now, what's going to be new is probably the experience or the story you want to tell to your audience. And remember that not each genre has the same audience. And that's the thing authors need to be careful for. So, my inspiration is this, Bethany, basically. There is not really much, to dive into deeper than this. This is just how I personally do. Sometimes, depending if I want full concentration, a white noise as well can actually full concentrate. If want a full concentration as well, and that's pretty much it. There's really much cannot really say, because this depends who you are at the moment. And the question is who you are, what you do as a writer, what you're looking for, and this will answer your question. And the Kelly asks, have you published a book yet? If so, where can I find it? Well, Kelly, first of all, thank you so much to be interested in trying to buy my book. It's not published yet. The reason is because there are things I need to refine in my story. There's a lot of things that I need to be careful. There's a lot of aspects that I need to work on. And with the feedback I'm receiving, yes, definitely I need to pay attention because it will lead to confusion for the reader. And yes, before everything is at least good, because remember, perfection doesn't exist in a story. It doesn't exist perfection. What exists is story. Who have his own flaws, even if he's real original or well presented. But it will have those flaws regardless. So yes, it's not published yet, Kelly. But I can tell you this. Once I know it's ready, and the publisher or self-publishing, who knows, I'm not sure yet. Because this could go to many, many possible ways. So let's see. I will tell in my shows where people can find and also the title as well. And that it is. And I'm going to mention in the end of my show, something else interesting that I've been thinking about to do. And I think this will be very exciting for people out there. So Deborah is the last question and asks, do you prefer to outline your stories or write more spontaneously? Ooh, so Deborah is asking, I am an architect or a pantser? Now, that's a question that I will say I personally am more a pantser, which is more like spontaneously. But at the same time, I need to write down what I am thinking because I might forget later on. I have this thing, if I don't write down, I might forget very easily. But I tend to be more to the spontaneous side, to the pantser side. That's to answer your question. And that's it for today. This is three simple questions. I want to thank you so much for Betty, Kelly, and Deborah to reach out to me and answer these questions. And who knows, maybe it will be your turn one day, and I hope so, to actually be in my show and be interviewed. Who knows? I wish you all the best. So now, The first Gothic band we're going to listen for today's show, it's Drab Majesty, called Souls. I want to really thank so much for the YouTuber It's Black Friday for absolutely 100 goth bands shirts, because this really gave me an inspiration to actually grab all the bands that I never knew and put it on my show. So, according to her, the Drab Majesty, called Souls, the song, so it's an American Gothic band formed in 2011. The sound is dark, dreamy, and relaxed. So, guys, please enjoy. that it was Rap Majesty, Cold Souls. I really hope you guys enjoy with dancing, dreaming, and all this atmospheric stuff that the singers created. Now, in the last week, we started to touch the deliberate pacing, and that's one of the aspects that makes a good story. And we touched to see the anatomy of action and how to write a fighting scene. Of course, keep in mind that everything I said here is just information that you can try to incorporate, and then if you think you can break the rules, have fun. And now, and besides that, we also saw the fighting scenes need to matter to the story because, of course, I'm going to say it again, if what is a fighting scene will not make sense to the story, your readers are going to notice, and that can be a problem. Now, there are things you can ask when you're going to think you're going to write a scene, and can be, why is this fight happening? Who is involved in? What lead both sides of this point? What are the potential outcomes for both sides? How will the fallout of the fight impact your characters and your story? This could help you just to see, is this fighting need in my story, or I can just keep it because it's not important to the plot or for the character development. We also see that the fighting scenes influence the characters, and vice versa, and it's true. If you think about it, a fighting scene can influence the character's psychology, physically as well, and outcome of the story, and of course of their progression as a character growth as well. And we start to see the fight scene pacing and the importance it is. But for this to happen, you have to keep in mind what is the genre, what would readers are, what the writing style, and your current scene. With all this, also start to study the fight scenes in your genre, because it's important. For example, a romance perhaps is not going to have a fighting genre. I will say, perhaps if you are, let's say, writing a dark fantasy in a mafia, maybe could have some fighting scenes. But keep in mind, the readers are there for the dark romance aspect of it, not for the fighting. So perhaps the fighting is the secondary aspect you have to concern about. And also know your audience, because once you know your readers and who writes your types of story, you will figure out if the fighting is important. And others to focus your writing style as well. And then to mix things up. Because when you things up, you can discover new worlds and new ideas and, who knows, new genres. And then lastly, it will be the character fights differently. Yes, because not all characters are going to fight the same. If you think about in fantasy genre, does let's say a Templar does fight the same way, let's say, as a thief? No. A Templar usually will fight with shield, sword, and sometimes double shield. Double shield, no, could be, yes, or double sword. A thief would be more sneaky, or be more into, let's say, throwing bombs to disappear on the fighting scene. Will probably trying to backstab you. Will try to knock you out. These are different styles, and every character should fight differently. You may have a character that actually likes to fight with diplomacy. That could be a different fight. It's not physical, but it is a fight. And now, the thing we're also going to see is to embrace all the senses in a fight scene. Because surely, immersing fights, or not, make use of multiple senses to pull the reader in and keep them hooked. This is especially true when you are highlighting how tense or brutal a fighting is. Sight is the to-go sense when describing basically anything in a story. We want the reader to be able to see the world we have built and the characters we have populated with it. But remember that more detail describing what the character sees slows down the pace, while less detail quickens it. Most writers, especially newer writers, rely almost exclusively on sight to describe the fights, and other senses. This isn't necessarily bad per se, but don't forget the other 4 senses you have available to you, or 5 if paranormal exists in your story. So remember, as I've just told you, that yes, embracing all senses on fight is important. Yes, the sight is absolutely the go. But remember during a brutal fighting scene, if the cats are trying to kill each other, what they're going to smell, what they're going to feel. For example, they can feel the impact. Let's say a hammer tries to reach to a bracelet, for example. That could be something to explore. And now we are going to see after the second song. Yes, for the second song. So I'm going to play again Sleep Token, Looking Windward, because I didn't have the time to make you guys listen to the entire music. These guys are amazing. I love them. And what they're doing with music, especially on the metal genre, is fantastic. So guys, please enjoy Sleep Token, Look to Inward. There you go.
Just as my form starts to fission, losing this war of attrition. Just as I drift away, will you hold this eclipse in me? Will you hold this eclipse in me? Will you hold this eclipse in me? This eclipse in me, with the shadows longer to me than a light, moving so slow I could die. Say you can let me say, will you hold this eclipse in me? This eclipse in me, will you hold this eclipse in me? Will you hold this eclipse in me? I've got eyelids heavy enough to break diamonds. You pray for sound and I pray for silence. Downright faithless, I can't deny. You'll find me with half a mind to get violent. Over till I say it's over. No more little angel sitting on my shoulder. So give me the edge of a blade and a time and a place, and I'll leave them cold and pushing up borders. Walking with God, so merely stumbling forth until there's fire at the gates, until I fall to the floor. You know I'll live by the feather and die by the sword, and I will sunder the earth only to burn the reward. Even in this garden of gardens, I am the god of the gaps. I am the demon of Sodom. I am the blood of an angel, the fate of the fallen. Nobody knows where I came from, even I have forgotten. How can I already lose my way like this? Drowning in burning brighter bits. Even at stratospheric depths, this vertigo. I used to know myself. Oh, and you used to know me well. Oh, and I wish that I could leave myself alone. You wish that you could make me.
And that was, my beautiful listeners, Sleep Token, Look to Inward. An amazing band. Please check them out. Subscribe to them on a YouTube channel. And yes, they are an UK band. So please go and really listen to them. They are just absolutely fantastic artists. Now let's return to our show. We are just really starting now to see the sides, to know the anatomy, to know the fighting scenes in first characters, to say that the pacing is important in the fighting scene, which it is. Also, our senses are important as well. It can bring, life to your fighting scene, And let's see them. So the touch is the other most obvious sense to use after sight. Though not all fighting scenes are physical. The majority are, which means your characters touch and will be touched. Let's consider these aspects. Just an example, right? Fury pain from getting stabbed, the cold bite of a ice magic, pavement scraping against skin when someone is knocked to the ground, or the snapping of ribs. This is the touch, the physical. So it has to be, on these occasions here, impactful, some may be magical. This will depend, but you have to consider how the cat is going to feel in the physical sense, the fight. Next is hearing. Because hearing is a versatile way to add tension or movement to a fight. Let's consider these aspects. Ringing in your hero's ears when they are clubbed on the side of the head. The steady thumping of a heartbeat, pumping adrenaline throughout a character's veins. The slight scuff of a footstep, sneaking up behind a character in the dark. Sheer terror from a gunshot in a crowded market. So you can see, not just touch, but hear makes suspense, fear, impact on the character as well. Surprisingly, smells, while slows down the pace of your fighting scene, it also adds a very underused sense, because you can consider the smell of changed air from a fireball your hero barely touched. Perfume that reminds your hero of their love, inspiring them to fight on. The contrast of fresh, salty ocean air with the violence before your characters. The pungent smell of gunpowder from your hero who just killed someone with a pistol. So, as you can see, strangely enough, touch, common. Hearing, also common. But smell, yes. It can slow down the pace, but it can tell, if you think about it, it can tell a bit about your character in terms of personality or something they have to face, the struggles, the obstacles. This can also help in the fight scene. And finally, of course, taste. Because taste is one of the more unusual senses used in a fighting scene. But it can add a level of detail that will pull your reader in. Because consider, the taste of blood after your hero is punched. The gritty scent from an underhanded villain throwing a handful of the desert in a character's face. A necromancer spell that fills the air with the taste of the death of magic. The taste of defeat. Not really a taste, but leave this out for a bit. But as you can see, all the others already pushes with your senses. The last one, taste of defeat, I would say is more emotional than a taste. But who knows? Maybe something that your character remembers reminds him of defeat. And this could be the taste of defeat for your character. Because make use of more than just sight when you're, and this is to prove to you, right? To use more than just sight when you're writing a fighting scene. Next time you put two characters against each other, choose one or two other senses to splash out the mix. You don't want to describe an entire fight by its smells, but including more senses can go a long way in improving the experience of your reader. However, at the same time, don't overdo it. You don't need to write down all the 5 senses with your fight scene, just to have them all there. It will make a muddle mess. At the same time, don't be too heavy-handed with those 1 or 2 extra senses you toss in. They are there for flavor and depth, not to be the star of the scene. Because yes, the senses are just a writing craft that you're using in your skills as a writer to provide imagery for the reader to imagine the scene. The senses are not going to be the star of the fight, is going to be the characters. They're going to be the star. The theme is going to be the star. So consider all of these all of these senses we just touched right now, which is touch, hearing, smell, and taste. And with this, let's just make a little bit pause. And let's introduce my second gothic band for this week. It's called, let's see here, Marrow. Lovers from the Past is a song. So this is a solo American musician. I discovered this by myself. With Iranian origins. It's called Ariane Ashtani, I think is how it's pronounced. We apologize for the for my for reading the names. Oh well. This was from me 2013, so not too long. Marrow's work incorporates the genres of dark wave, post-punk, gothic rock, and electronic music. So guys, enjoy Maro, Lovers from the Past. And that was Maro, Lovers from the Past. I will hope you guys enjoy the song and just vibe with, the artist. And here by my side, there is Henry, the jockey of the house, just enjoying petting him aside and just vibing as a old doggy. Bless him, as an adult dog. Bless him, Harry. So now, we just started to see that fighting scenes need other senses besides sight. And we touch on touch, hearing, smell, and taste. Of course, keep in mind that you don't need to use all senses. Just choose one you think would be interesting to experiment, and then try to see if it works. Because yes, this is just ideas. You don't need to follow them, but you can try to see how it goes in your story. And the last thing you need to do to make a good fighting scene is to revise your fighting scenes. Yes, because at the end of the day, you may have a good fighting scene, is well written, but sometimes maybe some aspects that will not work. And this is the part that all authors, yes, struggle to like because the part of editing, this part is a little bit of a mess. We've just done so much, we wrote so much throughout the hours, and yet we have to do this, but it's important. So, just like other scene in your book, you are going to need to revisit and revise your fights. I will say that you should revise them more than once. because it's necessary. And as you know, when you first start writing a book, it's just always the first draft. You have to revise, keeping up, and see what it works and what is not working. And once you have written your fight, revise once for choreography. Even if your scene doesn't have sword fighting, that borders on fluid dancing, your fight needs to make sense. Get up and recreate what you have described. You will immediately know if something doesn't make sense. Some authors check on YouTube videos to help them this step. I also think that checking with YouTube channels, videos, or even other social media, or even people who actually practice this stuff, could help you. Who knows? Maybe your character in your story is learning karate, and if you speak with a karate expert, they will tell you techniques, how it works, how the body moves, and this will be more authentic to your story. And after your first revision, go back again and make it better. Maybe that sounds a little blunt, but the first drafts, as I have told, can always be improved because they're supposed to be your crappy first thoughts, crappy. And yes, even if you start writing, this sounds bad, don't worry too much. Just keep going. Because especially, look for places to be powerful, dynamic, variable, and adverbs to engage or slow the pace, whichever floats your story. Keep an eye out for the passive voice, because passive voice has its place in writing, but there are very few instances where it works in fighting scenes. You might have to improve your wording or change your pace multiple times before you're happy. As you can see, this sounds really pretty much editing, because it is editing. You do this a lot with other scenes of your story. And like the other scenes of the story, you also do with your fighting scenes. And then give another pass for any obvious errors before sending out. Maybe just the editing. Who knows? And with this, we are going to finish with fighting scenes. This is basically what it's done. And then what I say again is just keep practicing, keep seeing what works in your story, just keep seeing which fight works, which is your genre, your writing style, and this will help you along. And experiment a lot. Don't be afraid to experiment. Experiment. But now, since we started to talk about fighting scenes, why not to see how to write a flashback and when you shouldn't? Because yes, flashbacks are also important in the story, and depends, because flashbacks usually have to be short, because what's going to happen is, if it is too long, your flashback, your readers are going to think in this way. Why did the story was about this instead? Why wasn't? And perhaps there was a reason you didn't choose that way, but they will think about it. Because the flashback, it should be something that gives information enough for your reader to know what's going on with your character at the moment. But let's dive more deeper into it, because it's just very levelly speaking. So before asking how to write a flashback, you must ask yourself why you want to write a flashback in the first place. Yes, because most of the times it's not necessary. This storytelling device can be a great way to draw the reader deeper into your characters in a world of heightened attention. A well-crafted flashback can reveal riveting information or raise new, compelling questions. It can also be a gimmick, a bore, or a complete waste of page space. So like I said, consider if it is necessary or not. And if it is long, perhaps shorten. And this is why understanding how to write a flashback starts with simply understanding how a flashback functions. We will discuss this, the pros and cons of writing a flashback, and how to determine if this device is the best way to deliver a backstory. And, of course, how to write a flashback. And then you decide to go for it. Because remember, it's about you writers, what you want to do in your stories. And with this, I am going to do another pause. And I'm going to introduce another metal band for this week. It's called Architects. And the song is called Sing Red. This is a UK metalcore band from 2024. So this song, I'm going to say, it's a very good song to listen because it talks about some aspects that I think some fans should absolutely be concerned or actually have the sensibility to it. I was trying to share with this, and I found this online. And I think it really speaks very well. The song talks about the struggles frontman Sam Carter goes throughout with the fans, saying the band is not heavy enough, and they're saying they are not good. They're only good, pardon me, when Sam is singing red and making music that is anguished and hateful. So a little bit here. If you like a band, like for what they do. Now, I will advise this, just an advice, but it's up to you to listen to me. Never tell an artist what they should and shouldn't do. That's their choice. If you don't like them anymore, move on for something else that might fill your heart or your soul. At the end of the day, musicians, writers, etc., they change. They are in the process of changing and discover themselves. So please, with this message in mind, Architects seeing. and that was architects seeing red. The message was clear. Never say to your artists what they should do and why they've changed the style. It's a choice. It's the creative path, in my opinion. We should not say them what to do. It's up to them. And who knows if they're going to discover something new while they are experimenting. And that's it. So now I am almost finishing my show. And I just want to say that I have something really very interesting I would like to try for the next year. Because I really need to prepare for this really in depth. And I'm going to talk with our beloved manager about that as well. Because I think it would be very interesting if I plan the script for my show like a story told in my show. I'm going to try to do that the next year. I'm going to start to prepare for it. Because if you think about it, your story can also tell in a podcast or in a show. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily need to be in paper. It's just all about experimenting new ways for you as a writer to discover where you can go out there and say to the world, hey, I wrote a story. This is what it is. And I think the more experimental you are, I think people are going to like it. And I think also as well, you, a writer, is going to discover a lot of things. Because, maybe you're going to have luck. And maybe, who knows, the publisher will come to you and say, hey, I'm interested in your writing. So can we just talk about it? Because that can happen. And imagine if that happens to you. How are you going to respond? It's the best thing ever, I imagine. Or you're self-publishing. We can also start to do a platform. So I'm going to try to do that. I'll see how it goes. And that's pretty much what I want to say today. And because I know I'm going to have much time to talk about how to write a flashback, we're going to continue last week. But usually next it will be another gothic band. We're going to skip and to introduce my next metal band. And this metal band is called Meshuggah. The song is called Clockworks. This is a Swedish extreme metal band formed in 2019. They are not really new. So according to their drummer, Thomas Haig, it says this song is about looking to yourself as if your mind was a clock of sorts, and you want to change the way you think and act and react to the things going on around you. So it's seen as a piece of clock that you take out in your mind, disassemble it, all the little cogs and wheels in your mind, and put them back together to make sense to yourself. Here it is, Meshuggah Clockworks. And that was Meshuggah Clockworks. I do hope guys enjoy the really heavy and drums and the guitars and that stuff. Just to finish my show, I just want to thank everybody to listen to me this far. And also, guys, please listen to the radio station, Dreamcatcher Radio. The next from 2 to 4 o'clock, you've got Kim and Carl creating a ripple of transformation. They give really good advice about mental health and how to cope to certain things in life. So please give them a listen. They're really, really good. Also, you've got from the 4 to 6, you've got Lisa King with Unapologetic You. I think she's going to talk about today some coping mechanisms and how to heal yourself as well. So give it a shot to her as well, and just keep listening to this. And then from 6 to 8, you've got Loose Ladies. I confess I have no idea what this is. I feel very shameful about this to assume this. But I heard it's a very good show, so please, guys, keep listening to them. Just give it a go and see. And then they've got from 8 to 11. Yeah, 11. You've got Handy, then so your mix. And then from 11 to 11:18, you've got the Kyla and Cass with Toilet Talk. So, guys, this is for today. Thank you so much. And despite it is raining, just keep yourselves warm, stay hydrated, enjoy some music, read some books at home. I know I can't. I like to be in the garden swinging and reading my books, or do something else. Stay with friends, enjoy some movie, some series. Just have a moment for yourself.